And probably the biggest mistake I ever made was watching the draft because that sucked.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
What is going on, guys? Nathan Lombardo here with Lambo Media, joined by a very inspiring and special guest, Kale Emshoff. He's in the Kansas City Royals organization now, was just recently signed as an undrafted free agent, was projected to go in the second day of the draft. We'll get into that type of stuff a little bit later, but I want to kick it off by turning it back a little to your high school days, Kale, where not only were you a baseball player, but you also played football for your high school and offensive line, correct?
Yeah, tight end and defensive end, both sides of the ball.
Okay. So those positions are obviously on the physical side of things. When it comes to football, the more physical side, obviously, football is all physical, but you're really physical at those positions on the football field. How much do you think that kind of implemented into your game as a catcher in particular? Do you think that at all helped you maybe embrace the physical side of things, maybe on close plays at the plate, on collisions at the plate?
Yeah, absolutely. Like football, like you said, is real physical, and you gotta be able to suck it up. And sometimes you just gotta be tough in any situation. You just gotta be ready for a hit. And catching is the same way. You gotta be able to block a crazy pitch, a wild pitch. You gotta be able to take it. If you get a bad read on it, it bounces off you. You just gotta be tough through that situation.
Right. And did you ever kind of think of taking football to that next level at all?
Yeah, so my junior year, that was my last year. I was getting offers from D2 to go
Okay.
play football. But that summer, I decided that I was just going to continue with baseball. So I'm sure I could have gone to play football somewhere
Yeah.
bigger than a D2, but just baseball stuck out to me more.
So what was your biggest reason for, sticking to baseball? Was it the fact that you thought you had more potential in baseball rather than football?
Yeah, I think that definitely played a factor. Like I was getting earlier in high school, let's say like freshman, sophomore year, I was getting a lot of views. I would say like a lot of scouts talking to me and stuff, and
Right.
it just felt right. Like I love football. Don't get me wrong. It's a great sport, and I would have played it, but baseball, I think I just liked it more.
Yeah, let's kind of transition into talking about your college career. Your freshman year at Arkansas Little Rock, you hit for a 214 batting average, and following that season, you played for a summer collegiate team for college baseball. In that season, you went on to win the All-Star Game Home Run Derby. What was that season's whole experience like, and in particular, that Home Run Derby experience?
Man, that was one of the most fun experiences that I've ever had.
Yeah.
Clarinda, Iowa. I don't know if anybody who watches this has been to Clarinda, Iowa, but there's not very many people there, and it's a hardcore baseball town. This Midwestern town, like they live and die baseball and farming. So, I mean, like we're farmers here, so it was right up my alley. I loved it. I loved every bit of it. The town really embraced the players. It was just a really fun time, and really fell in love with baseball even more there.
Yeah, for sure. And in the shorter 2020 season, you were off to an insanely hot start, hitting for a 417 batting average. What was the biggest adjustment you made from your prior self to that 2020 season that helped you get off to such a hot start?
Yeah, I would say like just the mentality of like, hey, this could be it right here.
Right.
Like this could be your last season. Physical adjustments I made a year prior to that. So like before my injury, which was my actual junior year, it was on scout day. I popped my elbow, had surgery, out for a year. I'm after all the throwing process and like I got back in the cages. I wasn't able to throw. Like I was doing bands, and that was it. So I was able to focus on hitting even more. I got in the cages every day and just worked on stuff, found a new routine, started changing my batting stance a little bit, got down on my legs a little bit more, started seeing the ball way better, like a beach ball. And then took that into live. And then by that time of just that year of working on one thing, it took off. And obviously, like you could see in the numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you manage to handle that drastic elbow injury? How did you manage to stay strong mentally through that situation?
It was tough at first. I mean, I guess wasn't even that hard at first. It was just kind of like how this happened because
Right.
when I was younger, I didn't pitch much. I didn't even learn how to throw a curveball. Like it was just weird at the time. I was like, why would this happen to me?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I embraced it and looked at each day as like a new day to get better with rehab. And it was real nice for my doctor, Dr. Andrews in Florida. He actually like when he does a surgery like this, he gives you such a detailed plan and something about that, like the process of like the details, just drives me. So like waking up knowing exactly what you have to do, and
Right.
once you get that done, you're like, okay, what's next? What's tomorrow? And then that's how I handled it.
How long did it take you to heal from that elbow surgery?
I want to say like 5 or 6 months. I started like throwing really light catch. I came back the 2020 season, this past season. I was playing, but and my arm was completely fine, but I just didn't have that strength to it,
Right. Yeah.
like that oomph behind the ball when you throw it. And I always tell myself like I wish we were playing right now because I'm like the strongest I've ever been throwing wise because I come
Yeah.
home and I've been throwing every day and like healthy, feeling good. But yeah,
How big of an impact do you think we talked about the 2020 season in particular a little bit earlier, but how big of an impact do you think that season alone had on your draft stock?
I can't really say. I think it. I would like to say that it upped it quite a bit, but
Yeah.
I mean, teams knew who I was
Right.
beforehand. It was if I wouldn't have gotten hurt, I would have had the same exact season my junior year. I guarantee it.
If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys go check out LeftySwag Bats. I promise it'll be super beneficial to all of you. The link to both their Instagram as well as their online shop will be in the description box below. They have amazing products such as baseball bats to improve your bat speed as well as your visual skills. Not only that, but they also have a ton of dope apparel, including these dope hats, as well as some other miscellaneous baseball accessories to improve your game. Once again, that's LeftySwag Bats. The link to both their Instagram as well as their online shop will be in the description box below.
And now let's kind of talk about the most recent draft. You were projected to go, during day 2. Were you expecting to go during day 2 as well?
Yeah, I was expecting anywhere from the third to early fifth round.
Yeah.
That's what everybody was telling me. That's what teams were telling me. That's what my scouts, agents, coach, everybody was telling me that. And probably the biggest mistake I ever made was watching the draft because that sucked.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So how did you kind of handle that mentally, and what were you initially thinking when you were watching the draft and you hadn't heard your name called even after day 2 finished up?
Yeah, I was heartbroken. I
Yeah.
was like the same thing with the arm. I was like,
Right.
why?
Yeah.
But the next day I went fishing. Like I brushed it off. I didn't really I was over it within an hour. And I knew the next goal in mind was the free agent day, which was that Sunday, and I knew that was just going to be absolutely like absurd, and it was. It was absolutely crazy.
That's awesome. And then you went on to sign with the Kansas City Royals, obviously, like you just mentioned, as an undrafted free agent. How are you able to push through that time and keep your head high and kind of hold on to that as a reason to go even harder throughout the beginning of your career?
Yeah, so like when the draft didn't happen, and I knew the free agent, I knew something was going to happen, obviously, but I just took that chip and put it on my shoulder. I was like,
Yeah.
just one more thing that I have to prove them wrong. Like that
Right.
they should have drafted me, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, and I'm extremely happy with the choice that I made, and I feel at home. I feel really good and just excited to go perform for a top-notch organization.
Yeah, and now you're ranked number 1 overall undrafted signee of this 2020 draft class. How are you going to be able to, push through that, not even try to think about that, and keep your head high and put that to the side and keep working?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's just baseball, and
Right.
the numbers play such a factor, such a role. But at the end of the day, it's just baseball. The money doesn't matter. Numbers don't matter. You just got to go out and perform each day, every time you step in between the lines.
Yeah, most definitely. And before we get into the rapid fire to finish off, I want to talk about right now. You're headed off to Instructs down in Arizona later today. What are you most looking forward to about that whole experience with Instructs?
Honestly, I'm ready to go see the guys. I'm just ready to get back to the team environment, start working out. Yeah. That's the top thing. I miss the team.
What did your day-to-day look like, before you officially got news that you're going to head down to AZ tonight for Instructs? What did your day-to-day look like as far as baseball activity go?
So I would wake up, I'd go for a run, and then I'd come back. And usually baseball wouldn't start until like later in the evening because we would have work to do here. I would start baseball activities maybe around 4 or 5 in the evening. Do whatever I had to do, like hitting, catching, throwing wise. And then from there, I'd go lift. And I would lift 3 to 4 times a week. Same thing with running. And then it basically just revolved around the farming. So
That's awesome. Well, let's wrap it up with a quick rapid fire. To kick it off, favorite team growing up?
Ooh, Yankees.
Okay. Favorite catcher that you look up to that is in the MLB as of now?
Yadier Molina.
Favorite food?
Mexican food.
Okay, and to wrap it up, hit against one MLB pitcher, who would it be?
Ooh. Hey. I don't know. I don't think I want to face any of them. I was watching. Let's see, who was it? I'll forget about it. I'm passing on that one. Pass.
All right. Well, that wraps up everything I have for you, Kale. I really appreciate you coming on. I love the rapid fire segment and everything we talked about before. This was an awesome interview. But once again, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to make this happen. Best of luck at Instructs and even, pass then into your minor league and hopefully eventually MLB career as well. And we'll for sure stay in touch.
Thanks, Nathan. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Kale.